welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle, brought to you by NIB. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis. It's been the Journo Australian, Buzz Rothfield, and James Hooper. We've got a massive show tonight, and what a round of rugby league it was on Fox League. But the stories of the round, Gordy, were the mighty Dragons and the Bulldogs back to Belmore. What a sensation both teams have been throughout 2024.
Well, the scenes yesterday at Belmore Oval, it's fantastic. The Dogs are back. The Dogs are having a party, but the Dragons, 25 years since they've beat Melbourne down in Melbourne. So that's another big coup. I think both sides, they've turned the corner, haven't they, Buzz?
Yeah, they sure have. I loved yesterday, and what I love about it is our younger fans have never really experienced suburban ground footy. We know what it's like. We've been there for forever. But to take a kid and give them that game day experience yesterday, it was just unbelievable, wasn't it?
The Bulldogs fans were going mad, Buzz. Let's just get this out of the way now. You've been a big fan of the Dragons all year. You've been talking them up. You think that's a bigger story than the Bulldogs. Is that right?
Oh, I'm not saying that. Look, I think they're both sensational stories, Braith. They really are. For them
to break. Which do you think's the better one, though?
Look, St George started this season as $3.50 equal favourites with the West Tigers.
They did.
To win the wooden spoon. Yep. Now, why you're even asking me to separate two
I'm just asking the question.
Well, they're both great stories.
Which is the better one?
I've got them dead heat. I'll tell you what I've got. I've got Cameron Ciraldo.
The sprint.
I've got Cameron Ciraldo and I've got Shane Flanagan going to the line together.
For coach
Bob
of the
the
year.
Head, coach of the year. They are both sensational stories.
I agree, and after all that, you still didn't answer the question.
Let me answer it next Monday night after they've played at Cogra.
Okay.
How good's that going to be? It's a sellout. In Gus we trust, Buzz. Those scenes in the streets of Belmore, out the front of Joe Bell's Cafe last night, you got to admit, the Bulldogs fan, they've been starved of a lot of success. Have a look at this. This is outstanding. The Dogs are having a party.
Buzz?
That's your combi there. That's your combi there, Buzz. You in the back of that?
Yeah. Can you imagine if they win the GF?
Oh, you know what?
Can you imagine?
The scenes there are similar to when we won the GF in 2004. Crazy scenes, but good to see because you got to appreciate it's been a long time since the Dogs have been in a position like this. And I said it on the coverage on the Sunday ticket yesterday, and some may disagree, but being an ex-player at the club and witnessing it firsthand, they have the most passionate fans in the competition. I know fans don't like, people saying that about different teams, but witnessing it, and you can see it. You can see it by their reaction.
Well, they've been through 8 years of horrible pain, not making the finals and the wooden spoons and all. So no wonder they're out there and lapping all. It's so good.
On the merchandise, Buzz, you got something for us there?
I wrote something in my column this morning. The Bulldogs have been so successful. They've run out of jerseys, beanies, just about everything. Anything blue and white, and it all comes from winning. So at the beginning of the year, Aaron Warburton ordered slightly more, expecting an improvement in the side. No one thought they'd be banging on the door for the top four, playing the footy they are. Peter Wynn hasn't got a jersey. Yeah. Rebel are running out.
Lucky I got you that jersey early on in the year.
Mate, what's that worth now?
Mate, if they win the comp, could be anything, Phil.
Mate, with my name on the back.
Could you sign that? Maybe we can auction it off for charity.
I reckon if they beat St George, I'll bring it in next Monday night and we'll auction it.
Okay, beautiful. We'll get
the
$2.
Only jersey in town.
We'll get $2 to your favourite charity.
Oh, please.
What about Stephen Crichton? Now, I think he's been the buy of the decade. I don't only think...
Well, for the Dogs.
For the Dogs.
Big statement, Braith.
Yeah, it is. I don't think he's just the best centre in the competition. I think he's just behind Cleary at the moment as the best player in the competition. I've got Cleary ahead of him, but I had to think about this, today. I just think he's been a phenomenon. Like, even at origin level, his defence is faultless. Not only faultless, it's tough. He never gets it wrong in defence. He gives confidence to the players around him. What is he, 23, captain of the Bulldogs, taking him from the shithouse to the penthouse?
Literally.
And then yesterday comes up with 3 huge plays. Without him on the field, they don't win. He's just been an incredible buy, hasn't he, Gordy?
Yeah, well, he's got a big influence on this club. Obviously, they identified him to be a leader. They took the captaincy off Reid Marnie, which I thought was strange because he looks like a quiet kid. But at Penrith, he looked like that he's one of those guys that got his job done, but since he's gone to the Bulldogs, he's gone to another level. Watch him in State of Origin. His defence on whoever he marked was absolutely outstanding. And he's leading this club.
But even for a centre, it's the big moments for me. Like, you go back to even when last year's, or the grand final they won when Cleary dominated the last half, and Crichton come up with that big try that really set them up for that back end of the game to get the win. It sort of went unnoticed a little bit, but even at Origin and even yesterday, and for the Dogs, not only is he consistent, but he loves the big moments.
Well, you've got to have a presence to be the captain out in the centres. That's a Mel Meninga style captaincy, right? So Mel at Canberra with all those great players, but he was still the leader. Didn't have to do too much, but when he did do it, it was important.
Look, I agree with you. He's number 2 in the game to Cleary now. By the decade, big statement. Trying to think off the top of my head, probably Cooper Cronk. He'll be on the show a bit later.
I mean the Bulldogs.
Oh, Bulldogs,
the Bulldogs,
no question whatsoever.
Yeah.
They don't win the game yesterday without him, and it wasn't just the tries that he was scoring and the way that he defends down that right edge, but when the game's in the balance, he runs over to the left side of the field, chases that kick, all effort, makes it happen, and then offloads to Josh Addo-Carr. What's interesting as well, I think he's got a point to prove. He's revelled in the leadership. And, you know, Cameron Ciraldo took them to an army camp over the off-season, and to a man, all of the commandos, when Cameron asked them who is the obvious leadership contender, they all said it has to be this bloke. It is Stephen Crichton. And I just think he's got a point to prove as well about the way that he exited Penrith. He won 3 premierships there, a lot of great friends there, loved his time there. But I think the fact that the Panthers probably didn't really fight super hard to try and
they couldn't,
retain him.
They couldn't.
I'm just saying, Phil, he's got a point to prove.
Yeah, but they've got a salary cap,
Yeah,
so they did their best. They offered
got a
him.
point to prove.
Yeah.
Nah. But
I think that's a big part of why his
Penrith
form
would
has
have
gone to a new
loved
level
to have
this year.
kept him, and we know that, but they're like every club, mate. They've won 3 titles straight, and Stephen Crichton, Matt Burton, Billy Kicker, all of them have had to go.
But he didn't want to go, so he's got a point to prove. That's my point.
Sure.
All right, you mentioned Cameron Ciraldo and giggling away over there, Hoops.
Yeah.
You mentioned
What are you laughing at?
He just got you. He got
I'm sorry for having to pull you up.
he got you with the right bound.
Sorry, there was no right bound.
All right, now Cameron Ciraldo, where he's come from, he was under a lot of pressure. He was the next biggest thing, and the Bulldogs got him. He had a poor first season there, and then looked like all of us were questioning whether he was as good as what we thought or what everyone had assumed with the work that he'd done at previous clubs at Penrith. Boy, has he delivered. Like the game last week against the Broncos, I said was the best performance in a very long time. To back that up home at Belmore, to have them only 2 points behind your club, the Sharks, they're in the top 4, and to be in the position that they are jockeying for a top 4 spot. Hoops, mate, what a season he's had as a coach.
We got all the plaudits when he was at the Panthers because he was the defensive coach, and they've been the best defensive outfit in the game for the last 3-4 seasons. But then last year at Canterbury-Bankstown, it was a horror show. I think they leaked in excess of 700 points over the course of the season. To flip that script now and to have them as the second best defensive side in the competition, they miss a lot of tackles, but it doesn't matter because their effort areas...
The system saves them.
That's it. The system saves them. And then also, if you look at the individual improvement in players across the board, from Jacob Preston, Bronson Sherry back into the side this season, right across the board, made a brave decision around Drew Hutchison. He started the year with him as halfback. When that didn't work, brought Toby Sexton in. Now they've won 8 out of their last 10 games.
You know what I love, guys, is that he's his own man. And previously we saw the role Gus played when Trent Barrett was coaching, and I know things weren't working out, but there was talk Gus turned up to training with a whistle and took over a session with Anthony Griffin at Penrith. Gus was very much involved. You go to a Bulldogs, you don't see Gus these days. Cameron's done this just so magnificently. The other bloke who does deserve credit, you keep laughing, Hoop?
Is Gus.
The other bloke...
You're going to give Gus a rap?
No, the other bloke who does deserve a lot of credit, who's done their attack this year, is Jason Taylor. And he's worked very, very closely alongside Cameron, and he's got that side playing really good footy.
Good to see you give Gus a rap there, Buzz. All right.